Hello, welcome back everyone. Man, does a week go by fast. Welcome to Weeaboo Wednesday. It gets really difficult going through all the stories and trying to find stuff to condense it all into a video that's not going to be 50 minutes long. But hopefully, we'll be able to do that today. For those of you who don't know, Weeaboo Wednesday is a collection of anime, video game, manga, Japan-related stories all rolled up into one little tight video, along with potentially any figure pickups or AMIAMI packages or whatever I might buy overseas that I like to show off. Kodansha has announced that the Blade of the Immortal manga adaptation they're making into a new anime will be a complete adaptation. Now, if you remember from the previous Weeaboo Wednesday, I talked about how there was an anime made before. This was done quite some time ago, and we've come quite a long way with animation since then, but if they're going to do a full, complete adaptation, that's 30 volumes of manga for them to adapt. That's a big claim to make, so it could go either way, but I'm still going to stay excited because I do want this to be amazing. If you follow professional wrestling, like I sort of do as a casual wrestling fan, you'll understand that AEW recently had their Double or Nothing pay-per-view. It was a debut that they did just this past weekend. There was a lot of heavy-hitting names there, some former WWE superstars, as well as some people from New Japan. One such person was a Kenny Omega. Everybody loves Kenny Omega if you like wrestling, and if you're a big weeb, then you love him even more. Kenny Omega is this white dude over in Japan who has dominated the wrestling scene since leaving WWE many years ago. Why is this relevant? Well, at this recent pay-per-view, he was on the card, and he came out dressed as Kirito from Sword Art Online. I don't really like Sword Art Online, but I do think this is pretty cool, and it's very Kenny Omega for him to come out in a crazy costume, but for it to be an anime character is even funnier. He's lived in Japan for quite some time, and he's expressed his enjoyment of anime before, where he actually said he spent all this time at a UFO catcher trying to win all of the Attack on Titan figures that it had. Kenny also has a special move that he's dubbed the One-Winged Angel. Sephiroth reference much? Nichijou is getting an English dub. This is really weird, but kind of interesting. I'm a huge Nichijou fan. It's probably one of my very favorite anime. I have the manga, I have the Blu-ray that they previously released, so I am a huge fan of this show. If you haven't seen it, I'll just go as far as to say that Nichijou is probably the funniest anime and manga that I have ever experienced. That being said, it's being dubbed in English, which can go one of several ways. Now, they've released some dub clips showing the character introductions with the people that will be playing them, and the only person that I recognized was Monica Rial. But, regardless of that, everything was pretty decent, surprisingly. I don't like Sakamoto's voice, I don't like Nano, nor do I like Hakase's voice, but I do think it's pretty interesting to see them actually putting a lot of energy into it. Because if you've watched Nichijou, you'll understand that the dialogue is fast and erratic. It's crazy and over the top, so for somebody to be able to perform that way is a big deal to me. So I will give them props on how they've casted it, but it's yet to be seen whether or not as a whole it's very good. I've said before that there's a lot of little minor inconsistencies when you try to translate this over from Japanese into English. There's cultural references and stuff that just won't translate well. So I'm nervous to see how it does, but either way, I'm going to stick to the Blu-ray that I already have. Now, if you recall, there was a breakup recently between Crunchyroll and Funimation. Because of this breakup and the fact that Funimation is going to be producing the dub for Nichijou, that means it has to be pulled off of another streaming site. So you would either have to get the new Blu-ray coming out, or you could get the old Blu-ray and watch that. But the new Blu-ray, if you're interested, comes out July 23rd. There's going to be a Detective Pikachu life-size doll. And I do mean life-size. The thing is a full 16 inches tall, which you can see here is pretty big. 16 inches is actually pretty accurate too, as Pikachu is listed as 1 foot 4 inches. The doll will be able to move its ears, its tail, and its arms. And to be honest, $200 for a doll, regardless of how cool it is a little bit steep for me. Though he is wearing that adorable detective hat, so there's that much. Bear with me for my partial ignorance, but Touken Ranbu is an online game where all these different legendary swords from Japanese history are personified as handsome men, or bishonen. My exposure to this series has been, I bought some of the figures because I really liked the designs. That being said, I've never been able to play it. But regardless of that, there's going to be an event held at Marugame Castle. Marugame Castle is in the Kagawa Prefecture, and it's a very old castle, very historical, and it's known to have some of the tallest stone walls in all of Japan. Now, that being said, architecture is damaged by weather over the years, and thus, last year, some very heavy rains did damage the walls of Marugame Castle. Token Ranbu has stepped in to help. Nikari Aoe is the blade of the Marugame Kyogoku clan. He's a handsome boy, and this blade in particular is actually going to be displayed in real life at Marugame Castle. If you've ever been to Japan, or if you just collect Japanese goods, you'll know that they're very big for some reason on clear file folders. They're just plastic folders for you to put documents or paper in, but they love them, and they mass produce these things for everything. I have some myself of Disgaea, Yokai Watch, Evangelion, Yokai Watch. But yes, these folders are huge in Japan, and they're going to make one of Nikari Aoe to sell, and the money that's made from that will be donated to Marugame Castle to help with rebuilding the walls. The walls will be hopefully repaired by 2023. You gotta love when anime steps in and helps to save history. That's a beautiful story. Oh, you best believe we're about to see Zeon. No, but in all seriousness, Gundam news is pretty exciting this week. 1, there's a bunch of new Gundam merch coming out, as there always is, and of course during this anniversary event, there's even more than ever. If you want to appear as a loyal subject to Zeon, you can purchase the rings coming out. One is of the Dom face, and the other is a Sieg Zeon logo emblem ring. Pretty awesome. Additionally, Gundam The Origin will be airing on Toonami. It starts July 6th, and it is a 13-episode anime that essentially recaps all of the original Mobile Suit Gundam, of course made with some modern adjustments for a modern-day audience. It's got all new visuals, all new voices, and everything like that, but it does follow, loosely, the same story from the original Mobile Suit Gundam. And also, new Mobile Report Gundam Wing side story G-Unit! Yes, this is a new Gundam series coming out in manga form. It's going to come out to Gundam Ace, and it's actually being made by the same mangaka who did a previous Gundam Wing spinoff. If you don't know Gundam Wing, it's an amazing series from the Gundam line that actually got probably most people in America that are into Gundam. I know it got me into it, so I have to admit. Keep a lookout for it in Gundam Ace the 26th of June. There's been a bunch of cast reveals for the Ni no Kuni movie, and it would seem that the film will be releasing August 23rd in Japan, so mark your calendars. Also, Sonic got pushed back from November 8th all the way to February 14th of next year. That may only be 3 months, so you may think, what could they do in that time? But evidently, they're doing so because they want to fix Sonic and make him as game accurate and crowd pleasing as possible, because they knew that in the state that it was at, it was not going to do too well. But, does it really matter if they fix Sonic? Yes, Sonic looked terrible, but the rest of that also looked pretty awful. Gangster's Paradise? Seriously, it's Sonic. There is nothing gangster about Sonic. The Akira movie will be coming out May 21st, 2021. And also, I didn't know this, but there was some strange caveat for them to start filming within 180 days of a specific date so that they could receive an $18.5 million tax credit. The film is expected to spend $92 million to make everything, which of course is just an estimate and it could always exceed that, but man, that's a pretty nice big chunk of what you're spending coming back to you. Either way, that movie's gonna be terrible as well, so who really cares? Finally, my last story is actually kind of sad. UNIQLO is a Japanese clothing brand that does a lot of commingling with anime, manga, and video game stuff that they bring together and make some pretty interesting fashion. One such line of clothing coming out was going to be their upcoming Pokemon line. They were holding a contest for people to submit designs that they would be able to put on shirts and sell, and the top designers would receive prizes. The grand prize for this was $10,000, and to have your design featured in the next upcoming Pokemon games. This would mean that the characters in Pokemon Sword and Shield could have your shirt's design on it if you were the lucky designer to win. That's huge! And $10,000 is nothing to sneeze at. Anyway, the winner was an interesting, kind of mythical-looking Gyarados pattern. It almost looked like ancient ruins, where it was a Gyarados as well as a bunch of Magikarp along the top and bottom. It would seem that that design has been before put onto cell phone cases. But a part of the rules for this contest were that the design could have been used nowhere else. UNIQLO wants all of the legal ramifications to be fully contained within their own realm because they would own the design. And of course, then the Pokemon company would be putting it in a video game. You can't have this design floating out in the ether and have some other company try to claim liability or something like that, and then sue your company for putting it out. So I understand that they had to shut it down, but it doesn't suck any less. I'm not sure if anybody is going to win anything, but it would seem that they're just trying to wash their hands of the whole deal. What I think is worse, though, is that the artist knew this going in. He knew that he put the phone cases out with this design on it, so ultimately, it was his own wrongdoing, but because of that, now pretty much everybody that competed in the contest lost out because of this poor handling. It's really unfortunate, but hey, at least the clothes coming out from UNIQLO look kind of cool. Oh, also, Godzilla, this is Shin Godzilla, but Godzilla King of the Monsters comes out on Thursday, which is a big deal. Oh wait, Thursday's tomorrow, so make sure you go check it out. It's got Rodan, Mothra, Godzilla, and King Ghidorah. I don't know why I said King Ghidorah like that. I love Godzilla, and of course I always want him to win. But goodness, if King Ghidorah isn't so cool. Also, I saw Detective Pikachu, and I've got to say, it was damn good. This is coming from a lifelong Pokemon fan. I have been following Pokemon since I was a kid, and it first came out in the 90s. I don't want to sound like that guy, but I followed Pokemon through everything, and I had almost no faith in a Hollywood adaptation of this property. But I will say that it impressed me. It was pretty good. It's nothing spectacular. I think it's a good movie to take a kid to see, or the family, or if you just want to go for a casual day at the movies, it's definitely worth watching. It's not going to make you reflect on life or come to any philosophical debate, but it was pretty cool. Shoutouts to the best Pokemon though, Lickitung. Lickitung's great, and he evolves into Licky Licky, and that's just a good name. So yeah, I would definitely recommend you see Detective Pikachu. I would give it a 7.5, leaning towards an 8. Not bad. And with all that out of the way, it's time to open an AMIAMI package, baby. I've got to use fabric scissors because I don't know where my utility knife is. Yeah! We got some cute girls with bright hair and bright clothing. We've got some paper as usual. Would anybody like this? One of the things I got are the pins that Asuka has on her hat in the Evangelion Rebuild movies. Very small, but cool. I also got 2 of the official Polynesian stands. This one's really dumb, but it was cheap enough, so I said, whatever, I'll get one. They're releasing clothing for the Polynesian figures, and this is a bit of a sweater. That's what it looks like. And finally, not 1, but 2. Robots with some big old baps. So this is Iana, the Gray Flesh edition. Very cool. You know she'll be getting reviewed soon enough as I continue down the Polynesian line. And that's it. This was the second time I filmed this, but I'm kind of glad I did because in the time it took me to refilm, I got that package in the mail, so there was that much more content. Now I gotta go edit this, and I'm gonna kill myself if it takes too long. Regardless of all that, thank you so much for watching. Come on back next week for another Weeaboo Wednesday, or just hang around because there's a figure review coming up very shortly on Friday. Make sure to leave a comment and like the video. Hey, comment on what your favorite story was or what interests you the most. Or did you see Detective Pikachu or are you going to see Godzilla? Either way, if you want to watch any more of the Weeaboo Wednesday videos, they're going to be in a playlist over here. Thank you so much for watching. You guys are the best. I don't know what to say to end this video, so I guess I'll just do one of these. Oh yeah. It's kind of like that. Destroy Tokyo! Peace out, Weeaboo Nation.